what we implemented, initiated, has stood the test of time.
And this was during the term of President
Art Lim.
Okay, so, and you were able to achieve all of this during that?
Yes, the congestion of jails was introduced during that time, and also initiated the training of paralegals, because we believe that with equipped personnel of the IBP and also non-government organizations, if they are trained in the practice of non-legal portion of the practice of law, then it would help in the administration of justice.
Well, it's sad that you only stayed for a year, because perhaps you may have accomplished more had you stayed longer.
Yes, but I was appointed Dean of the College of Law of UE after that.
Oh, I see. Because
and
actually,
I moved
I'm
on
quite
to another professional endeavor.
Oh, yes.
Madam.
Thank you. There are questions submitted to us through Twitter that you may want to respond to also. For instance, from Felipe Natanio to Dean Amado, when you made yourself available as TV resource person during the impeachment, were you already eyeing the position of Chief Justice?
No, the position of Chief Justice was not yet vacant at that time, and I thought that was a quixotic adventure on my part, because I thought that it was just a process, and I wanted that the process to succeed without necessarily resulting in the removal of the Chief Justice. But what happened is now history, Your Honor.
Thank you, Dean. One more question. Deanship is an administrative function. What are your scholarly pursuits? Which also brings me to another question. What in your previous experience do you feel has prepared you for the position of Chief Justice?
You know, Your Honor, in 1986, I was director of the Bureau of Agrarian Legal Assistance, and during that time, I had the opportunity to help in the crafting of the Agrarian Reform Program. And during that time, I was also the head of that office that dealt with petition for exemption, petitions for retention, and these are legal matters under the Agrarian Reform Program. And when I assumed the office, there were more than 7,000 cases which were pending. But I look at the problem, I thought that it was a system-based problem where the petitions were granted upon the submission of documents. So what we did is to come up with different forms where the different documents were mentioned, and if there was already compliance of the submissions, we issued that form, which was an order to grant. And in fact, during my time, we were able to resolve the 31-year Hala-Hala Meralco agrarian case. And this is to the credit of then Minister Alvarez and to President Aquino. And that Hala-Hala Meralco agrarian dispute that was settled is now a model, I think, in the experiment on agrarian approach to the problem, agrarian reform approach to the problem in the countryside.
Thank you.
And then may I add, because you were asking for my track record, I was also a government corporate counsel. And as a government corporate counsel, I was the more or less statutory counsel for all the government-owned corporations, so that all transactions coming from the government-owned corporation were submitted to the Office of the Government Corporate Counsel for what we call seal of housekeeping, which we rendered legal opinions, just like the opinions which are given by the court, the decisions given by the court. And in one case which was resolved by that office was a question was a question raised by a multinational milk manufacturer questioning the proposal or program of the Department of Agriculture to subsidize the raising of carabaos for purposes of dairy to develop the dairy industry in the Philippines, saying that this is a violation of the World Trade Organization agreement. But I said that, and I researched myself and discovered that the Philippines produces only milk for our population, not even 1% of the total consumption. So I said that this is not a violation because we are not subsidizing. In fact, we are just developing the dairy industry. There was another request for opinion coming from the PCSO, where they wanted to have an internet betting. And I said, no, it cannot be done because if it's used through the internet, betting through cell phones, if you do it through cell phones, then what control do you have with children using this cell phone to bet with Lotto? And we denied. In my office, I made opinion denying the contract where PCSO could have entered allowing the cell phone as a medium by which the people will participate in the Lotto, the Lotto that was sponsored by PCSO. There are other things which I am proud that we were able to inject our own version of what should be good and what should be bad for the country. And I used the constitutional provision in that opinion, saying that it is the duty of the state to protect children.
For my final question, Dean, why do you think that it is wise to consider an outsider to become the next Chief Justice?
With all due respect, I don't consider myself an outsider. A lawyer, for that matter, is never an outsider in the legal system. And I have been part of the legal system. I am a member of the Philippine Judicial Academy. I sit in some of the committees of the Supreme Court. Actually, just a levity. During the GESOP competition, I sat also at the rostrum of the justices. But I feel that I am not an outsider. If you say an outsider, that I don't belong to the judiciary. My position as government corporate counsel had the rank and privileges as presiding justice of the Court of Appeals.
With that, Dean, I wish you luck. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Dean.
Thank you, ma'am.
Attorney Mejia, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Dean Valdez.
Nice to meet you again, Professor Mejia.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
We were together at the Ateneo during a
convocation. Yeah, now I remember po. Dean, I was going over, for starters po, I was going over your PDS and I noticed that you spent, in your postgraduate studies, for specifically your Bachelor of Laws, you spent 1 year at the MLQU and then you transferred. Why was that po?
Because I thought that I have to move on. The environment there was better. I thought that the peace and order situation was starting to deteriorate in that area. So my parents were apprehensive about my safety, so I transferred.
You also mentioned that you spent a significant period of time being with the Agrarian Reform Department.
It was only about more than a year, but during that time, I initiated what we call the Barefoot Lawyers Project.
And you were also a consultant after your being the director of the BALA?
I was a consultant with the office of the Senator Alvarez because during that time we were crafting the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program as well as the Cooperative Development Authority Bill. And I was part of the working group of Senator Busakino in crafting the Cooperative Code. And during the time of President Cory, I sat as a member of the Cabinet